Good morning, Ma. Welcome back for today's session. Yesterday, we learned about the introduction of the virtual machines along with hard disk network capabilities, along with the memory requirements. Okay, so I want to repeat the virtual machines as some network disturbance is there yesterday in the recording also. Okay, so I will repeat virtual machine. See, so with this picture, you will able to understood what is virtual machine. So our heading is virtual machines and virtualization middleware. So I repeat one more time, what is the virtualization? Using underutilized resources, whatever resources we have in terms of a memory, in terms of a hard disk, in terms of a processor, in terms of a network capability, all should be used perfectly without wasting any slots, any processor capabilities, so that we can save amount and time. Okay, so in order to use this concept, we have to use this virtualization concept. But how to use this virtualization concept? By using virtual machines. What? By using virtual machines. What is a virtuality? Actually, there is no physical existence of the thing, but we feel that there is existence of any thing. That thing can be called as a virtual thing. As we are using the machines, we have to term it as virtual machines. Okay, here the virtual machine is nothing but a separate software, or we can say emulator, or we can say emulator. So this emulator is used to use your underutilized resources. How? See, if you have only one operating system like Windows, we can perform some applications by using that Windows. Whenever the Windows is not able to use some of the resources as it is busy with some work, its applications, we can run some other applications which are not supporting by the Windows. So those applications can be as Linux, Ubuntu, Macintosh, Mac OS can. But we can't load two different or multiple different OSs in single system. Is it possible in your hardware? No, not at all possible. We can install only one OS or more than one OS, maybe two. That's okay. But if you want to use multiple OSs at one place with different applications in terms of compatibility presentation, at that time we have to prefer a software called as a virtual machine monitor, or we can say hypervisor. What it is? Virtual machine monitor or hypervisor. If you observe this diagram, we have, this is our computer. Yeah, this is my computer. This is my hardware. So between my hardware and my OSs, the OSs. Okay, so that may be my hardware contain my OSs, but here different virtual machines are there. These are the softwares. Each virtual machine have one OS. So I have 4 VMs and 4 OSs. Okay, all OSs are under the control of the virtual machine monitor. So it directs the different OSs of virtual machines to use the hardware along with your own hardware, along with your own OSs. If you observe this, I have only one computer physically. This keyboard is connected with this device and this mouse. But virtualization, by using virtualization, what I am seeing, what you are seeing, I can see different computers. So this is one type of application running here. Here one type of with a different desktop is running here. Here one more desktop is running here. I have 3 desktops. Each its own desktop, each with own configuration. See, my total hard disk is divided in n number of parts. That n is called as the number of virtual machines you are using. I am using 3 virtual machines, 3 different OSs. I have 3 parts as in the hardware. Each part using its own OSs part, own applications concept. It will not disturb our hardware, but it will use even unnecessary hardware at present we have. Okay, so that is a theme of the virtual machine. Hope you understood this. What is a virtual machine, ma? It is a emulator or the software running on your hardware. For what it is? To underutilized resources. To use underutilized resources. We have lot of memory, but you can't use multiple applications by using your Windows. You can run those applications by using supportable OS. In order to support two different OSs, we have to use the virtual machine. Who is the virtual machine monitor? It is the one which controls all virtual machines, called as a virtual machine monitor. Right? So that the number of OSs are visible. Now, if you see, so I want to give some theoretical part here to explain for better understanding to you. A virtual machine or VM is an emulated computer system created using software, which I said previously. Yes, it uses physical system resources. What are the physical system resources? They are the CPU, RAM, disk storage. But it is isolated. It is not mingled with them. Okay, from other software on the computer. It will not mingle. It will not disturb those software. It will use just the resources. It can be easily be created, modified, destroyed. Of course, that is your wish. If you want to delete that, easily delete. If you want to delete your own OS, which is our host OS, our OS called as a host, that virtual machine OS called as a guest, because he is a guest. He is not a permanent fellow in your computer. It is up to you. If you want to keep him, yeah, he can be as a guest. If you want to throw him out, he have to go out as a guest. Right now, so our OS called as host OS, that OS called as virtual machine OS called as guest OS. See, so it can be created, modified or destroyed without affecting the host computer. So virtual machines provide similar functionality to physical machines, but they do not run directly on the hardware. They will run directly on the hardware. Your OS is going to directly run on the hardware, but it doesn't work. It works with the help of virtual machine monitor or hypervisor. Yes. Instead, a software layer exists between the hardware and the virtual machine. What is software layer? You go on this. This is the software layer. Okay. So with this, the virtual machine is going to work. So the software that manages one or more VMs is called as a hypervisor, and the VMs are called guest or virtualized instances. See, our normal computer has only single OS, image or single OS that tightly coupled with your computers, but a VM machine have novel solutions to underutilized resources. Right. So today, to build large clusters, grids and clouds, we have to manage the available resources efficiently, effectively, without wasting the time and money. So for that, we have to build different softwares on our host OS. Right, ma? Right. So with this, we have four categories of actually four categories along with our conventional one. We have one conventional one, three different architectures. Totally four we have. Okay. See this. So with this, we can give priority. So which host we have to run first, or guest have to run first. We have to decide that. So that priority can be called as a privileged one, non-privileged one. Okay, you see this. Yes, see this diagram. So I have four architectures here. It is the conventional one, normal one we used to use in our laptops or phones. But these are somewhat different ones. So for this, you have to install the virtual machine software in your computer or desktop or laptop or your mobile. There you can start running. Okay, see. So this is my hardware, this is my host OS, and this is my application. Always the privileged one in our system is the OS only. Right or wrong? But whenever instead of your OS, I have run the virtual machine monitor, which is a layer, it is going to control the OS, or it is going to control the OS, our OS along with the guest OS. It is going to give importance to guest OS also. Right, ma? See here, if you observe here, the privileged mode is running by VMM. So the VMM can able to share your data without intervention of the OS. without intervention of the OS. No need to ask everything. It can share somewhat data. Okay, the guest OS can have to ask always to VMM or a hypervisor and have to access your hardware. The guest OS don't have any permission to access the hardware directly. But who is taking care of this? The VMM will take care of this. Okay na? So my VMM have privileged one now. But if you observe third architecture, the host OS have some privilege. Means I have a right whether to give permit or whether I should permit to VMM or not to access my hardware. So the VMM have to take off your permission and have to access your resources. Okay, so based upon that only the VMM can take the data, but the guest applications always run depends upon the VMM only. Here the guest OS privileged is taken by VMM. Okay, but if you want to run two different VMMs or same VMM at two different systems, that is your host system and the guest system, then automatically they can able to share data mutually with mutual understanding, so that the underutilized resources are going to use more effectively. Okay na? So the key point here is the privileged concept. The privilege is for your OS or it is for hypervisor or for your host OS if you have guest OS and host OS, or for both. That is your wish. That is your wish and you can run that. Okay ma? So hope you understood this virtualization concept with this concept, with this diagram. How many architectures we have? 3 plus 1, 4 total. 4 totally. One is a conventional one. The remaining 3 are architectures by using hypervisor or VMM. Right? Now, make a move. Virtual machines. See, somewhat theory, it is whatever explained in the previous diagram. Okay, no need to read this because you understood the concept. I will skip this reading. Okay, just hope you understood that. Time waste. Okay, that's it. Nothing else. Yeah, it's very important. Very important. So virtual machine primitive operations, main operations, what this we can do with the virtual machines. Are you able to copy your virtual machine from one voice to another, or one computer to another, or from one application can be used by another OS in the same computer? Okay, or can be able to access your storage, that a hard disk from your computer by virtual machine? So what are the advantages of this? What the virtual machine can do on your host OS? That is the main question. Okay, so we have 4 operations typically. Yeah. The VMM or a hypervisor provides a VM abstraction to the guest OS. Of course, what is the abstraction? The high level content, not going to in detail. Okay, for whom? Guest OS. The guest OS also knows some information only, not fully. But who know all this? This is by VMM only. Okay, right. So with full virtualization, the VMM exports the VM abstraction identical to the physical machine. See, whenever this VMM running in the privileged mode, then it is able to copy your content or hardware directly. As it is a privileged mode, it can access. Okay. So that is standard OS such as Windows 2000 or Linux can run just as it would be on the first physical hardware. So that any operating system like Windows and Linux can run as it is, as a natural OSs. So what are the operations we can do with this? See, first operation, second, third and fourth. Multiplexing, suspension, provision and life migration. Multiplexing, mixing, suspension, we can just cancel the OS, we can access and we can resume back. Provision, resume. Suspension, resume is just opposite words. Finally, life migration. Yes, life migration. If you want to run your work in virtual machine, but it is we got problem in that, we can move your application from that system to another system. It is also possible in this. See. So these are the 4 methods. If you see, the first one is a multiplexing. Here I am going to use the multiple OSs, multiple applications. It is one type of VMM. It is also one type of VM I want to use. Okay, are I given two different VMMs? I'm going to multiplex all this. Is it possible? Yes. Yes, there is a possibility with this. Okay, next suspension. See, you don't want to use this OS at present. Okay, you don't want to use this OS at present as a high level, but you want to implement that as a privileged mode under your physical hardware. Then we can use this OS. Then we can use this your guest OS here also. Okay, which have the total accessibility on your physical computer or physical storage. It is called a suspension or storage. See, provision resume. See, your OS can be cancelled or suspend for some time, but it can resume back to your position from non-privileged mode to non-privileged mode. Okay, so like this. The last one is live migration. Yes, if you want to run some application in one VM, but unfortunately something happened in your VMM, the first VMM, you can transfer your storage. You can transfer your executing capabilities from the system to system. There is no problem at all. There should not be any compatibility problems in your computers now. We can run easily. Okay now. So what are the basic operations we have in a virtual machines? 4 we have. What are those? Multiplexing, suspension, provision or resume, or migration. Hope you remember that. MSPL, multiplexing, suspension, provision, live migration. Okay, virtual infrastructure. What is the use of these infrastructures? Is it easy to develop the infrastructures? Is it easy? No, it is not at all easy. It is not at all easy. Why means, as we are using the hardware in terms of memory, in terms of processor, in terms of hard disk, in terms of network capabilities. Okay, so all these have to use perfectly. Okay, in order to use this, what we are going to do? We are installing virtual machines. With this, what is the advantage we have? Multiple systems or multiple OSs can execute. So for that, how much maintenance we cost? We need lot of maintenance, right? All virtual machines have to run throughout the clock. So for that, we need more power. We need more maintenance. It's not a simple issue, right? Okay. So the author want to convey the same. Yes. Physical resources for compute, storage and networking at the bottom of below figure. Yes. See, these are the requirements if you observe this. If you observe these color words, the green is for, this is the amount spent by the customer, okay, from 96 to 2013. How many servers they installed? Millions of servers they are going to install to maintain the virtualization concept. In order to maintain this, what we required? See the green color, power and cooling expenses. We have to maintain power. We have to give continuous power supply. The machines are going to be very large. The heat generating also very more. So in order to cool them, we need cooling machines. That's why we used to maintain ACs in the your labs also, in our labs. Okay. If you observe the yellow one, management cost. So this is for they are spending management cost. In 1996, from around $70 to $190, that is, they used to spend for management cost. Okay, and coming to the server spending, if you want to buy a new server to maintain lot of virtual machines at one place. So if you want to maintain multiple virtual machines at one place, we have to buy server only. So this is a amount, blue one, from $0 to around $60 from 1996. But if you observe, we have same almost $50 we used to spend for the servers. But how many servers you want for that? That's also important factor, right? See, if you observe here, a part of this we are going to maintain management cost. All the softwares, all the power cost, all the maintenance cost is going to be requirement is more and more. Okay, So that is a issue with this virtual infrastructure. The software is very easy, but the maintenance cost is more and more. Okay now, right? So for that, okay. So the other one to convey is the data center virtualization for cloud computing. Yes, if you want to use the data center virtualization, means the total data center which is contains n number of your servers, more servers at one place. Okay, if you want to use that. So as cloud need the commodity hardware and network device. What is commodity hardware, ma? Almost 50 times of our natural laptop capability. For example, we are going to use a 4 GB RAM. They need 16 GB RAM. We are going to use 8 GB hard disk, but they need around 1000 or 1500 GB minimum they need. So if it is so, that is called as a commodity hardware. Yes. Okay. Yes. Almost all cloud platforms choose a popular 80 processor. So as at the long time they are going to use the 8086 processor, but today i10 processors we are going to use by the Intel, right? More and more processor capability have to improve. Low cost terabyte disk and gigabyte Ethernet. Terabyte, zettabyte also we can use as hardware, but gigabyte Ethernet also we have to use. Gigabit means gigabits per second, Gbps, so that the bandwidth is going to be more, so that download uploading capability will be improved. Next, so data center design emphasizes the performance price ratio. It's very important. If you want to improve your performance, we have to improve your price investment also. If you're not able to spend more time, means we can't improve our performance, right? Right? Yeah, that is. So if you want to develop the data center by using virtualization concept for cloud computing, all things we have to verify. We have to provide the commodity hardware. We have to choose the best processor. We have to store more amount of hard disk space. We have to provide the giganet Ethernet, that is gigabytes, and finally we have to invest your more amount of money also, right ma'am? So as it is required, as said previously, we need thousands of servers for large data centers. Small data centers we need hundreds of servers, and the cost automatically to maintain this is increased over the years. See, for large data centers we need thousands of servers. For smaller data centers we need hundreds of servers. It is up to you which one you want to choose, whether hundreds or thousands, whether smaller one or larger one. Based upon that we have to improve the cost. So this is a given diagram. Previously I want to give a figure or percentages of amount by spending by the customer to get the service. See this. Data center cost distribution. 30% he is going to spend for total amount purchasing IT equipment, means servers and disk. 33% he want to spend for chiller, that is cooling machines. 18% of the amount have to spend on uninterruptible power supply, UPS. 9% have to maintain for computer room air conditioning, CRAC. 7% have to spend for power distribution, that is power supply from one to room to another, or any cables, lightning and transformer cost. Step up will be there. If there is so, the total server will collapse. So we have to use step up servers. So what is the final conclusion? 60% of the cost to run a data center is allocated to management and maintenance. So whatever the amount you want to spend, the 60% is totally dedicated to data centers only. What about the 40%? You should remember about the 40% spending only, but not about the 60%. So whatever the benefit you may get is from the 40% only. See, if you want to maintain a cloud, a single cloud, so this is the percentage of things you have to remember in your mind. Is it easy, ma, to maintain a cloud? No, na? Right? That's it. Yeah, if you go, it's a small heading, ma. Low cost design philosophy. If you want to spend low cost, sorry, it can't be possible for clouds. Okay, so I didn't use. Yes, convergence of technologies. So if you want to maintain this much virtualization, we have to use a better technologies also, which we learned previously. What are those? Hardware virtualization, multi-core chips for processing, utility and grid computing, we know about this. service oriented architecture and web, we know about this. And finally automatic maintenance and data center automation, we learn about this already in the previous classes. Okay, so I am not going to explain one more time here, it's very easy. Now, so we wind up with the second topic till now. It's a big topic, you know. So we had 4 videos till now. Okay, so this is a new topic 1.3, clusters of cooperative computers. I will wind up till now for this. Before winding up, what is a cluster in your terms? What is a cluster? A cluster is a collection of heterogeneous or homogeneous. It's a homogeneous computers, collection of homogeneous computers, right ma? So this is for today class. For next class we will I will explain these clusters and fourth topic also. Okay, I will finish this unit by this weekend if possible. Okay, right? Bye ma, have a nice day. Bye.